was
a road game.
It was the Vegas game.
Hard dump.
Oh, yeah.
That's right, folks. We were listening to the Victory Plus broadcast, too. And if you heard this...
The hard dump.
You're taking it back to.
And yes, we did share that audio with the Razor Boy. Let's start the post-game show right now. Hey, everybody, this is the DLLS Stars post-game show after a 2-1 loss to the New York Islanders. A 3-game skid has now turned into a 4-game skid.
The hard dump.
Perfect usage with the skid.
That's exactly what I was hoping for.
Good terminology.
Alongside Craig Ludwig, Sam Nessler, our producer Ryan Vodders, I'm Owen Newkirk, and we welcome in from parts unknown, Sean Shapiro.
Is cooked right now.
Yes, the way to introduce our boy Sean.
We should all have an intro song like that.
I've been telling Ryan that for a
That
while,
would be
but we have to
awesome.
come up with a way to introduce our guys because even the Cowboys guys do that.
They have a sick one.
Yeah, well, we need to get a good... We'd have to find... This is your job.
Okay.
All right, folks, here's what I'm
Hold
thinking.
on.
Sam Nessler dives into the archives on YouTube and finds a hilarious Craig Ludwig reference from his playing days. And that's our intro for Luds.
Okay.
What?
All right. Like something like the hard dump type of level.
Something I said when I was playing?
No, it's got to be like,
I'm wrong.
what a great goal by Ludwig. You'll have to dig deep for it.
Yeah. Well, I only need to find about 8 of those.
Well,
I have an
that's
important
fine.
fact here. I went to the bathroom with Luds.
That is Sam's intro. That is what it is. And then, of course, mine is going to be the stupid air horn. There's no doubt. No, it'll be worse. It could be the 1-2 countdown.
Do you still have the hi, I'm Owen Newkirk from DLS? That's my favorite
Owen
one.
Newkirk from DLLS here.
But Luds, Sean's intro is this.
The dude is cooked right now.
Well, yeah. What else?
That was the best.
Yeah.
All right, folks, we're
Best
trying to
day
have
of
a
the
little
year.
fun tonight because fuck you. That's the one I want as my intro. That's the one I want. And I got it from Luds. He's a great influence on me. All of us.
Yeah.
Okay. Craig,
Owen?
is the sky falling?
No. Come on. They're in. They're in.
It's raining all over us.
They're in the. Again, they're a little closer to locking down the number 2 spot. Although Minnesota did win tonight's game with 4
They tried really hard to lose that one.
What does that do? That puts them 3 behind right now. What is that?
Should be,
guys?
yep.
Sam is
I
hot
got
on
it.
the case.
I got it.
3 behind. So, yeah, no.
With 10 to go.
Here's the whole thing.
97 and 94.
With all that even this stuff, they're just running short on ammo. We're seeing it and trying to generate quality chances and finish them is getting to be tough.
Luds, Tony has suggested. Oh, Ryan got up right when I wanted him to be on the board. Ryan, do you know the special one where he was doing the knuckle? So Tony suggested that Luds' intro drop could be the one where
the little clips in the middle of it. Or no?
That's a personal choice.
Wait, can we?
That was the moose knuckle, I believe.
that was the moose
Go
knuckle, and then
finger
you asked.
You go. Well, did I ask if we could say that? Balls, butt crack, and grundles.
That's a good one too.
It's just a drop show.
Okay,
This
let's
should
move
be
along.
This should be Saturday's pregame
best
show.
of.
You guys should just have a drop.
Oh,
down
yeah.
to get a little
We have
anal.
2 big goals to cover.
Should
All
we announce
3.
that first? Saturday's pregame show will be hosted by Sam Nessler with
That's right.
only Craig Ludwig as his co-host. So get ready for that.
What are we going to do? 30 minutes of drops?
I have no
and
idea.
Questions from the Discord.
It's going to be great. Discord.
That's if Sam doesn't get sick in the next 48 hours.
That's a great point.
So
I should go to
hosted by
CVS, I should go to
Ryan.
CVS now.
Do
so I
you
can
have
get back in
a
time.
suggestion?
Could we tape the show right now? The intro for Saturday? Just in case.
Who are they playing?
Tell
finish
tell
his
Sean
chicks.
what you suggested we do to Sam right now to protect him for the next 24 hours or 48 hours.
I'll put him in a bubble.
Mm.
Yeah, the bubble boy.
You wanted to quarantine Sam now so he'd be healthy enough for Saturday's pregame show.
We don't
Good-
want him
it's
to
a
go
good plan.
outside.
It's a good
He might
plan.
get a flat
Load
tire.
man.
I do need
Load
to be
management. for Sam right
Load
now.
management
Load
for
management
Sam.
is a
Sean, are you
smart rule.
at all worried about this team after 4 losses in a row?
No, it's no, I'm not. I think they lost 7 in a row. What was it to end last season? And we weren't concerned then. And then they won a couple rounds in the playoffs. So no, I'm not concerned. Bit frustrated when they lose when they lose like this, and bit frustrated with how some things have played out. But concerned is not the word. And once they're healthy, I think there's also the element of it's not an excuse, but it's just also a reality, important context of. They're not healthy right now, and ideally the next 10 games, just like the same message we give to our boy Sam here, is get healthy.
Sam. Or, so,
Speaking of
Sean-
Sam getting healthy, did you see Sam Steele left the game today?
Who?
Sam Steele?
Sam Steele did leave the
Yeah,
game in the
14
third
minutes
period.
Sean, is it more?
update.
Is it more that we should be thankful that they found goals out of the players that aren't maybe putting them in the net right now for that particular? Because just think if they would have, the power play especially, missing a couple key guys, and when Rutskovian's putting pucks in the net, and Blackie's putting them in, and Bastian's got some, you know what I'm saying? Like, should we just say that we're fortunate that those guys were getting timely goals and allowed them to win some games, and
Yeah,
or is it a little of both?
I think it's twofold. I think there's parts of there's that where there's been players that have taken steps forward, or not forward, but stepped into timely opportunities like they have, like you just mentioned. And then I think there's also a slight there's a slight just appreciation for what they did to be in this spot, because you obviously can't make the playoffs in October and November and everything like that. But I think there's also the appreciation for they're able to go on a 4-game losing streak right now and still, I know I think Minnesota won tonight, but they can be a little bit, they feel comfortable in second and they feel comfortable in this spot. So I look at it that way, where you have in the most recent, you had some of those timely goals from guys that maybe you weren't expecting it. And you also, it's hard for the sky to fall when you put it up so high already in the first place, right? So even if the sky drops a little bit, it's not falling. It can't really crash that far because of the work you've done so far. Now, we'll see what happens. If they lose 5 in a row, 6 in a row, we can have a whole nother discussion, and I'm sure it will be thrilling in how that will go.
John, that was excellent Sky Talk, by the way.
Do you think
Yes,
there's
Sky Talk.
anything to
Appreciate that.
seeing Mikko Rantanen practice with the team, knowing he's probably on pace for like Sunday against Philadelphia?
I don't know. Did you get that out of Gully's comment? We're hoping he gets in that last game.
Yeah,
He said we're hoping to get him in, and that may be because during the course of the year he got out in front of some and they didn't get into the
Braddock
lineup.
Fox,
so maybe he's
99.9.
maybe he's learning to just kind of soft sell that a guy's going to get in the lineup.
But aside from that, which you're right, he was careful there. But I just wonder, he skated. Jim Nill already said we think he's going to play 1 game on the weekend, and maybe said hopefully or whatever. The offense has dipped a little bit. Are they starting to almost kind of like, well, we clinched a playoff spot. Mikko's back in a few games. Do you think that creeps into anybody's heads?
No,
Like we're about to get our big guy back?
Yeah, no, I don't. Again, I don't. There's enough veteran guys in there that they're. I don't believe that that's what they're thinking. I think right now they want to get their game back on track where they were, and I think they understand that help is on the way. But I don't think there's any panic in the room whatsoever. They did a lot of work in the first 60, 65 games to put them in a position like this where when you do hit this, like I said, everybody hit it. Even the great Colorado of this year hit their skid a few weeks ago. And so Teams, you get tired, and the break, and the guys that have been out, and the injuries, and all that kind of stuff. It's just part of it. The main thing is always just to be as healthy as possible, which, the line is nobody's healthy because it's been a long year, but you just want to be as healthy as possible when you get to game 83.
I want to go through these real quick. So you guys feel free to chime in on your thoughts on these games, on the losing skid. 4 games. First one was last Saturday. They lost 2-1 in overtime at the Minnesota Wild. Bad loss, good loss. You're right in it. Could have won that one. How do you feel about that game? Sam's cleaning his glasses. Apparently,
You can't
can't
talk
hear.
or listen when you're cleaning your
I
glasses.
was not listening. That time I wasn't
That's
listening.
usually my line. No, that was one of those games I think could have went either way.
Yep.
I mean, was that Vlad? Who scored that second goal? Who scored their second goal in that game?
I'll tell you in a second.
The second goal?
Are you listening now?
That was the overtime goal.
Tarasenko was the
Who
overtime
was it?
winner.
It was
Tarasenko.
That was the
Oh,
Robo.
wait,
He was
yeah, that was
left
the
a little bit alone.
Robo.
The where you going, Robo.
going?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, the second one, the next day they lose to the Vegas Golden Knights 3-2 when Riley Smith scores that third period goal late to break a 2-2 tie. I didn't think the Stars had a whole lot of offense, but they were hanging on to that game.
Well, you've already said they scored 1 goal, then they scored 2 goals.
Yep.
I think the common theme is going to
I
be.
think they've scored 1 in 3 of their past 5, right?
Well,
So-
no, 4 straight.
Is it?
Yeah, so, oh, wait, no, I'm
No,
looking,
'cause
sorry,
Vegas.
Sorry, no, Devils, they had 4.
Devils in Vegas.
I was looking at power plays where they have 1 in
Well, they had
3 of the
4,
last
but
4.
they were down 4-1. That was
Yeah.
one of those
They
games
used
where,
the comeback
mean-
to get close.
yeah.
I didn't think they were great tonight, but they were certainly in the game. To me,
Yeah.
if anything, the Devils game was the worst game of this 4-game skid. That's where I'm going with that. Do you agree?
Devils in Vegas, where they were controlled by the most. I think they were the second best team by a while. Jersey was Vegas was just the better team. Dallas was bad and gave the New Jersey chances. That's how I kind of
It's
differentiate.
easy
those
enough
two.
to say that they weren't ready to play the Jersey game.
Yeah.
You know,
and they were sloppy.
Yeah.
Very sloppy.
Yeah.
So the point is that while 0-3-1 isn't great, it feels like, a bounce here or there. It could have been different. They could be 2-2. They could be 3-1, but that's, not the reality. Gully said the other day, I don't think it was today, I think it was the last one, that maybe this is a good time for this, which seems weird because it's late in the season. But what he's saying is maybe it allows us to not get too comfortable with our success, dig in a little bit more, and re-find ourselves right before the playoffs. Does that make sense, Sean?
It does, and it's also just because it's always fun for historical context on things. I went and looked this up. Obviously, this team went with their point streak and tied the 99 team and for point streak and everything like that. I was curious. The longest winless streak for the 99 team that Luds was a part of was between March 14th and March 21st of that year, where they went 0-2-2. They had ties that year, so there was no overtime, but so just because it's always fun to bring up the historical connection to the 99 team and how things go. And I saw someone in the chat saying good teams that win don't win 4 in a row. Stars team that won the cup in 99 had a 4-game skid because there was no overtime in that year. So it's how you adjust and move forward from it. And I think this team, they're going to get Mikko Rantanen back. They're going to get some other guys back. They're going to get healthy. There's going to be some teachable moments, coachable moments, whatever you want to use for this. It's not fun. It's never fun to lose, but I get Sam, you were the one that said now would be the ideal time to lose, right? Like,
If you're looking at the chat right now, they are quick to remind me of that. Yes.
Yes.
Did you will this? Did you manifest this?
I did, and I stand by it. You lose 4 or 5 and then go on a run at the right time instead of last year where they won, 5 or 6 and then lost 7 in a row. I think it's better than that.
So when, again, a couple games away, they still have to play Saturday against Pittsburgh. The presumption is Mikko Rantanen would play Sunday in Philadelphia, then play in Boston, and now he's back in and up and running. First thought, Luds, he's probably in for Matt Duchene on the power play, right? Because I think Duchene's been pretty good on the power play, but Mikko's not going to go play the Jamie Benn net front. So does Duchene get bumped first when Rantanen comes back for power play?
I don't know. Who's the next best?
Rope, yeah.
Who's the next best? Hints. Isn't it Duchene? as far as making plays off the goal line.
So do you take Jamie Benn out?
The way they do it
And
is
then coming to
Ben
the
in
front.
front is kind of that.
I don't
kind
know.
of role.
I think what they're looking for, I think if you've got Mikko out there, you want the other four guys, your best opportunities, guys that can put the puck in the net.
Yes.
That can transfer a pass or make one more pass. And to me, I don't want to say it's not Jamie, but I think Duchene seems to be the next playmaker out there.
Yeah.
I don't know what, but I understand the net presence thing. Because again, I've given Rope a lot of hard times in the past.
You have.
But I do believe that this year for sure he's been way more resilient as he sits on the IR. But he's been more resilient from getting hit with pucks in the ankles and the top of the foot in front of the net and coming right back.
Yeah,
he
just
does
can't
come
wrestle
to the
with,
front of that.
He just can't wrestle with
He
Nate
comes
McKinnon.
but that might be to your point.
Yeah.
Is that Hintz is super important because he does get to the front of the net like that, and he makes really good plays off the goal line.
And his passes, comparing to Jamie Benn right now, not Jamie Benn at his peak, but right now I think Rope makes those plays a little bit better when he jumps out from the low, net front low slot than Jamie is at the moment. Not that he can't do it.
The other area is on entries. Like, I think when Hintz is coming, when Hintz comes through and a lot of times it's not always him, but when he does, there's a different holy balls kind of moment for the defenders when he's coming at you through the neutral zone.
Yep.
You back off more because and so that opens up a little bit of space. They usually get in with that little tic-tac and come back to the point to whoever hints, and then they can set up where we've seen it's been kind of obvious going forward since those guys have been out that their entries are, not.
Sean, do you agree?
clean.
Is it, obviously it's a question of Ben or Duchene. Who would you take off for the top power play unit when you bring Mikko? Because Mikko's obviously back out there, right? There's no doubt.
Yeah, right now it's probably I'd probably keep Duchene in right now. I know that's going to be funny here. Hit the drop, Ryan, do all of that. When we're throwing positive Matt Duchene comments. But, I think there's a little bit more
is cooked right now.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. A little bit more versatility, more whatever you want to call it when it comes to some of the entries. And I think that's part of one of the things this power play needs more right now. And I don't know. It's also funny because we're talking about two guys that actually combined for the one goal tonight in the 6-on-5. So it's funny to look at it that way. I'll go with I'd keep Duchene on right now. That would be my play with it right now. But I'd also want to see how those entries look until Rope gets back in. So,
all right, interesting thoughts. I have some goalie questions to ask Sean. We have a breakdown. Lots to do. We don't have a lot of goals to break down, but we can talk a lot about that. And did Matthew Schaefer live up to the billing tonight? We'll talk about all of that on the DLS Stars postgame show.
What kind of dreams did you have when you were a kid? I had many, but like most people, they slowly started to go away because I wasn't good enough. I wasn't smart enough. But unlike a lot of people, I found ways around that and found ways to still be involved in the cool things I wanted to do by starting my own business and writing about it or talking about it on podcasts. If you're looking to start your own business, Shopify is here to help you because Shopify is the e-commerce platform behind millions of businesses all around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the US. Guess what? Shopify even powers the DLS merch store right here. All the cool shirts, the hats, all the cool stuff here at DLS because Shopify lets us do it on our shop. It makes it so easy. They have got you covered website creation, product descriptions, email and social media marketing, and plenty more. So if you are ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify. Turn your big business idea into with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/allcity. That's shopify.com/allcity.
Property taxes. Texas has some of the highest property taxes in the country. Wouldn't you like to save some money? You should use Ownwell, and maybe you can just do that. So for all those property owners out there, especially ones that are living in North Texas, you can use Ownwell very easily and use some of their cutting-edge technology and local experts to save you both time and money. Signing up is easy. It takes about 3 minutes, and there's no long paperwork, or you don't have to go in person and protest. Ownwell will do it all for you. And they have a very high success rate. In fact, it's significantly higher rate of savings for their clients than more of the traditional agents. What they do, up to 80% of the Ownwell customers get their assessed values reduced and save on your property taxes. An average savings over $770. Save time and money on your property taxes with Ownwell. Only pay if you save. So go to ownwell.com/Texas to learn more. That's OWNWELL.com/Texas. Later. All right. This is the DLS Stars podcast. Sean Shapiro, Craig Ludwig, Sam Nestler, Owen Newkirk. 50-50 roll of the dice, maybe even one of those Dungeons and Dragons big, like 100-sided dice, whether or not Sam's listening to anything I say or not.
I'm ready.
Okay. Let's break it down. I know this isn't the Devils game the other night where we had 7 goal breakdowns and 10 goals overall, but there are some things to talk about. So it's time for What the Puck. Here on DLS.
What the puck?
Thank you. There's the theme song we're all looking for.
Do we have a theme song?
No, we should probably get a theme song.
Like a Brady Bunch
All right,
type.
lads, let's start it out. It is Bo Horvat scoring the first goal of tonight's game to give the Islanders the lead in the first period.
Yeah, and since we only have a couple goals to talk about, I actually played around a little bit more because I do have where Sean's going to come in at the end of this thing again because it is a question of mine. Oh, there's the What the Puck thing. That we've been
Yeah,
looking forward to.
we were ready for it.
So the more you go back at this, it's so important. Here's where the puck carrier is on their side of center ice. Right now, this is Essa. Essa is about at the blue line right now. So a lot of times you look at the gap. If the gap is tighter, there probably isn't this hole through the middle of the ice, and it allows players to come into the zone. And I just wanted to show that they've got 4 of their guys that are jumped up into the rush again. I can't even read my own writing right there.
Let's say gap's blue line.
Yeah, it said hold the gap at the blue line. But here's that lane. Because of a little pick in the middle of the ice, this passing lane becomes available. But besides that, here's what happened on the gap. I just want young defensemen that are up late listening to this. Essa's in a perfect spot right now. But what he does, now he takes a couple strides to his left. And then what that does, because again, you've got a player that's staring at you. He understands that you're only giving me the outside. I really want to get to the middle of the ice. But when Essen now crosses over because he wants to play more in front of that one, now he opens up the lane to the middle of the ice. And so now there's a little bit more room. He walks to the middle of the ice. Essa backs off. That's what creates that space in the middle of the ice. Now, to the shot and to the goal. That I'm going to let Sean handle because when I look at this a couple different times, I'm like, wait, why? Is this just a great shot from a player and we give Sean, do we just say, sometimes you just say it was a great shot? Or is there too much for Jake on the short side?
Yeah, I look at this one and I want it's kind of a little mix of both here, and I'm not trying to hedge on it. I went back and watched this multiple times. I don't mind. I'd like to see Jake make the save, and it's the I think Horvat sees a window, he picks it. There's a little bit more of a challenge where I think Jake, it's not necessarily the angle, Luds. There's a little bit more of
come out and cut it down.
So we talk all we talk all the time about, we were just talking about gap for defenders, right? There's part of this where once this play is kind of developed as is, I'd like to see Jake maybe be out of stride a little bit further, just taking space away a little bit more. So, if this is a more proper 2-on-1 and there's a true passing option over there, I think he's in the fine positioning. But I think this is one of those plays where, based off clear shooting spot, clearly how it's going to play out, I'd like to see him a little aggressive, use his size, take that away. So credit to Horvat for recognizing it, but also I'd like to see Jake take about a stride out here, as opposed to, it's not necessarily the angle, it's more so the body positioning and using his size in that way.
Okay, well then let me ask you, Sean, because I'm sure if you saw that one, Horvat came down a little earlier in the game. Where's the one he rung it off the bar? Was it second?
That was after this.
That was in the second period.
Okay, do you remember that one by any chance, Sean? When Horvat came down,
the same place.
It was identical, the same place. So in the same thing, then he should maybe come out another foot or so.
Yeah, just I'd like to say it doesn't even have to be a full foot. It's just like, if you think about anything with Jake's 6'5", 6'5", every every single claiming as much ground as you can there is going to take up more space. And so it's that. I just would like to see him a little bit more aggressive on that and be a little bit more, make the read a little bit more on proactively on that. It is funny how sometimes those things happen, Luds, with from a shooter perspective, where sometimes like the other one hit the bar and they didn't get it, but it is funny how sometimes in the chess match, because these are elite shooters, obviously, and so you can't just rely solely on reflexes. It is interesting to see him almost get it on the same spot later in the game. And I wonder if as from Jake's perspective, there's almost an overthinking element of, well, he's not going to do the same thing again. It's an interesting kind of little in-game chess match there, and it's good that you bring those two up.
Hey, Ryan, since Sean used the word perspective, will you go back to the one with the vision or laser beam? I don't know what the hell we call that one. Can you go back to that one? And the reason I just want to say this, and I've said this enough, it is about perspective. And so the angles that we get, and I'm showing you, nope, not this one. Yeah, the last play that we just had up there. Yeah, okay. And then go to where we got the Superman laser beam thing. One more. Right there. So, and what I mean by that is it's not really fair because we don't see what Jake sees because we're seeing an overhead view. And so really you either got to be sitting right behind on the glass there, or you have to be right behind Horvat. And so that what looks to us, what looks like a big hole up there probably isn't. And it may be even smaller
from
than
the puck. Perspective.
So don't I don't want to make it sound like Jake really has no clue where this is going. And as Sean said, and to me, when Sean says if he comes out another foot, to me it's the same thing when goaltenders, when there's players that are closer to the net and it's a quick shot where goalies lunge out with their glove. Because to me, what they're doing is they're cutting down that angle that can go upstairs. You reach out forward, and that you don't have as much lift on it. Your glove gets there before they can lift it. So same kind of concept.
That was
my arithmetic.
Was it you that said, or maybe it was Sevi was telling me that he used to have his players lay down and look.
I think it was Sean.
Or maybe it was Sean.
Yeah.
You look at the blade and just see what you're actually seeing. Because
that was definitely Sean who was talking about that.
The difference between your eyes and
got down
stick.
on his
It was Maurice that did it too. Yeah.
Ryan, take me off screen for a second. I'm going to see if I can find a prop to demonstrate this.
Okay.
Oh, I cannot
He's going to go
wait.
back and get that. But while he does, Luds, I want you to talk about the Sam Steele shorthanded breakaway in the first period and the Adam Ernie Matt Duchene 2-on-1.
Well,
because those are the two best chances for the Stars in the period.
So here's what I said. Was that when were you here? Oh, yeah, you were here all night tonight.
Normally
you're not here. You're on your
already
scooter.
thinking about Saturday.
Yeah. But what I said is, and my comment was about that, and it kind of goes to what we talked about in the beginning of the show. And I always say this, but I'm not going to say it this time. Unfortunately, that's not Wyatt or Robo or Hintz or Rantanen. It's a couple fourth line guys.
Yep.
And again, they're not the same guys, but they're the ones that had the best quality scoring chances at that time.
Yep.
You want to say, why can't they be one of them other guys? Well, two of those guys are in the lineup, but again, credit to them for getting in that position to get it. And the good news is they both hit the net. They both got the shot.
Forced saves.
Yeah, I mean they made them make a save.
You made the comment about Matt Duchene's feet as he gained the offensive blue line on that 2-on-1 and what it told you.
Oh, that part. Yeah, well, as a defenseman and also a goaltender, I mean, when the ideal thing is, especially defending it, if Matt keeps his feet moving, and first off, everybody knows Matt Duchene, who's in the league today, and for the last few, they know he's a pass first guy.
Yes.
That's what he is. So when Matt Duchene comes across that offensive blue line and his feet stop and it's a 2-on-1, I know he wants to find a passing lane. So I think I could have found a better stick position so that he doesn't get it across. Because right now your goaltender is saying, I don't want him to pass that puck. So your defenseman, as a defenseman there, he would slide a little bit more to his left. He would find the other player who's over there, which was that Steele that time? Who was it that time?
No, it was Ernie.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Ernie.
Poor Adam.
Yeah.
So
Your
it
other
was Ernie.
player.
Yeah. So, but I would find that lane. My stick would be closer to his stick, so that right away Duchene would be going, I can't get it to him. There's no way I can get that pass there. Well, now your goaltender can feel a little bit more comfortable about coming out and challenging and doing everything that Sean just said. Cut that angle down.
All right, so end of the first period, it's 1-0 Islanders. No goals in the second period, but lots of chances. Duchene had a back post power play chance from Wyatt. Luds, you weren't thrilled with the attempted shot, or maybe it handcuffed him.
No, I watched it a few different times. The problem with that, and I don't put it on Matt or I don't put it on Wyatt, when Wyatt made the pass, and Matt is left-handed over there, I would say he tried to pass it or he tried to shovel it into net. Where Duchene would have been able to hit that right away would have been if Wyatt would have put it in his feet.
Mhm.
And so that's more of I can directly hit that and get it there. But by putting it on his forehand, now Matt's got to almost cradle it, then take a shot. Well, that 1 second allows Sorokin to probably get in position.
The other ones in the second period, Horvat hit the post. That's the one you were asking Sean about earlier. Same shot as his first period goal. Heineman had a rebound in the low slot. Great chance and a great pad save by Jake. Otter made a point-blank save on Matthew Schaefer at the left side of the crease. Then he stopped Gatcombe, who had a midair swat of the puck. And then Holmstrom, point-blank at top of the crease. They were getting to the front of the net a little too easily.
Is that the top right corner of Jake's net?
I think so. And then Maverick Bork had a couple great looks right at the end of the period. When we come back, Sean with a visual aid here on the DLS Stars postgame show.
Did you get that at Kmart like that? Where did you get that thing?
You didn't. Oh, is this a library?
Oh, yeah, this is the live one.
Floods.
Hey, Ryan, can we pull up the Rangers hoodies and shirts?
Yes, we have to bring up the Rangers game.
Yeah, we got it.
Opening day.
It's opening day. When's opening day?
Today. First game.
They lost. They got
No,
killed.
but it's not opening
They got
day
killed.
at home.
No.
Opening day
but
in
this is
general.
When you say opening day, that means get there at 6, start drinking, and that's opening
Philadelphia
day.
Phillies
On a
fans did
Thursday?
that
Yeah,
today.
but that's not out at the ballpark here. Anyway, so these are. I really want that blue one on the other side. Why can't we get a green
I love the
one?
light
Why
blue
can't we
color.
get-
Which one? Are
They
you talking
have.
about the hoodie or the
Why
t-shirt?
can't we get a hoodie with the DLLS on them? Just instead of the Finnish
the
Mafia
the letters?
BS there all the time.
We like
What
the
about
Finnish
us?
Mafia hoodie.
Us. Why can't we get a DLLS? How many people would buy a DLS this year?
Oh,
Well,
well, what about if we
you
started
three.
crossing over colors? We had like a DLS Stars logo on a light blue shirt. Let's really F around on this show.
Keep submitting your question or your request.
Anyway,
to the
I just wanted to
suggestion
pull
bar.
these up. I think it's a good deal that they got going
What
on.
about those
here,
new
and I-
T-shirts?
None of the Dallas Stars don't deserve any stuff.
No Robo or Wyatt tonight.
No, they don't. Not. We don't know. We're pimping those guys out. They didn't do. They did nothing. They did.
Well, yeah, Duchene did score a goal, but we'll get to that.
Well,
All
we
right,
don't have a Dookie shirt.
Sean. Not Sean. We're not
do we
ready
have,
for
do
you.
we have a
yet.
Dutch oven shirt? When
Sam?
do we have a Dutch oven shirt?
A hard dump. Let's talk about the supporters club, probably, right? Yeah, let's talk about the supporters club. For
I
the
need
real
another
ones,
beer.
true sicko level stuff. You get exclusive emojis, exclusive badges. You can see all of our exclusive videos, behind the scenes stuff. Lots of fun things. I always talk about it. Lud's cursing, trying to do his ad reads is the best one out there so far. But there's tons of awesome videos going all the way back to last year when our boy John Anderson would sneak up and take videos of us. I think those are still available. All kinds of cool stuff. Plus, you get, as I mentioned, the emojis, Lud's emoji, Stanley Cone, which are we bringing that back? Stanley Cone
Well, it's right behind
for
you.
this year?
I don't know.
We
Lutz.
gotta get a new
do
cone.
Do we need to get a different apparatus instead of the cone?
need to go someplace where I could steal another one. Then I mean, you can't just go pick one out.
What if it's
No,
a
it's
Stanley
no fun.
Cup?
There has to be
What
a-
if it's a Stanley Cup and it's like out of someone's jock
You
strap?
mean like what? Why not?
like a cup?
Like a
Well,
cup
wait a
to
minute.
protect your
who's going to
junks?
steal? Well, you want me to steal that off?
Yeah, I
some
want you to
guy?
steal it from
okay.
someone at the rink, one of your alumni
so you
guys.
want a protective cup?
Yeah.
Why?
And then we can
Derailed.
mark it off.
The show has derailed.
All
Sam.
right.
I agree with that.
Join
All
the
right.
supporters club.
Let's get Sean and his visual aid props back on the screen here. Let's give him full screen.
All right.
Sean, you have the floor.
So we have our goal here, okay? We have our goal right here. And you see a goalie glove, okay? You see all of this space right here. And right now this is the angle of, I want to be clear, I have a puck right here, okay? This is the angle you see from your eyes. I have the camera positioned right here from your eyes view. As a shooter, you see all of this space. Are we all getting this at home right now?
Yes.
Yes,
Oh
excellent.
yeah.
So now I'm going to switch it to the view of the puck. This is the puck's view of it. And now look at how much less net there is when you look at the puck view.
Does he actually think that's the view, the puck of the?
No, it's the best he can do without having a production assistant.
I have zero production assistance. This is my
Well,
point
take
here
your
is
camera and lay it on the floor.
I
You got your
work on
camera up in the air. We
laptop
can't
here.
see the view.
Sean,
How
I
can
think
we
it's
see
excellent.
the puck's eyes right
I think
now?
it's
love it.
excellent.
The only thing that could be better is if you had a
my
stuffed
goal-
animal in goal.
And a top shelf in that
My
mini
point
net.
is,
Wait a
have
second,
space
Sean. Hang on a
above the
second.
net.
Sean, Yakby. Here, are you sitting at a table?
That's his conference table.
Okay, why can't you take the camera and actually put it on the end of the table that would be at the level
Here we
of
go,
the
Sean.
puck?
Let's go. We're
Then it
going.
would explain
try
more.
this.
We're going
what the
all
hell
in
you're
here.
trying to
Ready?
say to everybody.
We're going all
He's
in
got
here.
his 8
We're all
inches
in.
up
Let's
in
do
the
it.
air. Like, drop the camera
see.
down
We
to the
got-
puck
so
level,
many
and then you
notes
can
right now.
explain.
Let's do it.
We're gonna try here. Hold on, everyone. Hold on.
Okay,
There
there
we
you go. That's a little bit better.
That's better.
Now you hold
now
up
you're at-
your
Oh,
There
look
you
at
go.
that.
and now you
Now
hold up
put
your
your
glove.
glove up
That's
there.
freaking great.
There, that
Now,
didn't change
that's
much.
the-
Okay, yeah, that's a little bit more realistic, I think.
Then
All right.
If you,
we're
we're talking
about
Peter
the
Puck
ball
right now.
Example, right?
And then the
The
glove
ball
comes
more
out.
example. And this is when the goalie comes out, right? The more you bring
There
this
you go.
out,
Look at that.
See, there you go.
like
Yeah.
that,
There, good
Ain't
job.
Ain't nobody scoring there.
You just need a director.
you bring the
you
hands
go.
all the way out here,
Yep.
and then it goes into there. Okay?
Beautiful.
There we
Was
go.
that a plastic
Good job.
puck?
No, it was a regular puck.
That was real rubber. All right, Sean. Only upgrade I need is I need you to get one of those Franklin mini nets with the top shelf bar in it. So
Is that Gump
so you can
Worsley's?
really bury
Is
him.
that Gump Worsley's catcher? Or who's this at?
That's a good
That's
callback.
Sean's. Sean wears brown.
It looks like
It's not old. It's just brown.
It definitely it's not broken in. It must not a lot of pucks are hitting it. Apparently, it looks brand new.
It's not brand new, Luds. There's
Sean
just
goes
a bunch
all
of-
out
it
and just gets crapped on. Big
No,
dump
no,
on that one.
we appreciate the prop, especially Luds.
I
who
loved it.
Is Mr. Costume and props. So props to Sean for the props.
Mr. Coffee.
Yep.
All right, so we go to
Care
the
for
third
some?
period, and the game-winning goal
Oh.
of tonight's Stars and Islanders game turns out to be a pretty fluky one.
Beauty is a beauty.
Yeah, and okay, so Schaefer, Matthew Schaefer, who's 18 years old, gets in on both goals tonight. As a matter of fact, I believe he had 2 points tonight, so he's in on that too. But it all kind of starts down in the corner. This is one of those 50-50 puck battles. I complain about it all the time. Dallas does not win this one. Puck kicked out to the point, gets moved across to Schaefer. Schaefer doesn't see anything, but I want this circle right here. You guys were asking me about this. So this is one of the things I like defensemen to do. The puck is on the far side, almost on the top of the screen over there on Schaefer's stick. And Myers comes out and meets Ritchie here. Instead of allowing him, this is probably a better angle. Instead of allowing him to get in front of Jake, but now you can see where the puck is coming from the defenseman out there on the top right by the scoreboard up there. Myers is doing a pretty good job. Unfortunately, what happens is when Schaefer shoots the puck, he shoots it back. Now Jake's got a clear view, but he shoots it back to the left post, which is where Ritchie and Myers are both standing. Now Jake has got to track it, so he slides over, and then it just goes into the pile. And ultimately, when it's all said and done, it hits Ritchie in his skate, then it hits Myers in his right skate, and then just barely sneaks by
Pinball.
Jake on that one. So that, to me, you guys were asking me about that. Now, there was another angle I looked at. Would I like that defenseman to move over and stop that player on the close post so he can't even get there? But he was out a little higher, and then he slid back, and Ritchie kind of came in there. So, but again, in my opinion, he does what you're supposed to do. I'm going to try to help my goalie. I'm not going to let him get in front of his eyes. It's just where the puck went. You know, it's pretty tough for Jake and Myers by that time.
Sean, any issues goaltending-wise? I mean, that seems like a really fluky one to go in.
Yeah, and to kind of go back to Lud's point on here, I think it's an interesting spot of how for the battle that Myers is playing there, Luds. You kind of run into that spot of, are you going to box out or are you going to front the shot if you're Tyler Myers? And I think it's from Myers' perspective, I'm okay with the battle there. I don't want Tyler Myers with his frame fronting shots, especially with kind of creation of this. So you live with it's fluky and it's weird, but this was maybe the application didn't work as it should have, but I'm not upset with the thought process here.
Sean, and when you say front the shot, so people know, basically he's asking, should that defenseman out and go play the puck? But I will tell you this, what happened was that puck, when they engaged, the puck was actually just had left the right side defenseman's stick, and then it traveled all the way across. So at that moment, he goes over, he boxes him out, and he's already engaged with them. The only other way that what Sean's talking about, he would have to release Ritchie and then go play the puck, but he's already engaged with them and kind of looking. So I just think it was one of them unfortunate ways that it played out.
I agree. Then you've got a couple of great saves. Jake Oettinger, huge save on McLean, who was wide open at the right post. He stopped Casey Cizikas point blank from the right side as he skates in. And then the Stars had a couple. Miro Heiskanen walked right down Main Street, had an open look. Great save by Sorokin.
Yeah, he came flying out for that one.
Robo missed a shot from a great position on the power play, and then Wyatt had a little backhander. It wasn't as dangerous. Sorokin kept it out. And then we have the Harley play with a 6-on-5, which looked like it was going to end up in the empty net and turns into the Stars' only goal of the night.
Yeah, I think it was a good play by Thomas because it's a 3-on-1.
He sold out for it. Yeah.
So he sells himself out, and I think what he does is he believes that the puck carrier isn't going to – that's the last thing that he's going to do.
Yep.
And he catches him off guard. I mean, it was a smart play by him, and he gets rewarded for it and keeps it alive.
Well, it's funny. You always talk about guys – you say, hey, just lay down and block the passing lane, block the shot, go low. This was at center ice, but it worked.
But what happened, again, we're talking about angles and goalies bringing their gloves out and cutting down the angle. What Harley does is when he goes down, he's not going down and sliding backwards. He goes down and he kicks his feet out. So his legs get there before he can get from his brain to his hands to move the puck or do whatever, something different. So he basically took that whole space away from him. And like I said, a little lucky, yeah, but maybe calculated on his side. He likes to play forward anyways. I don't mean as a forward, but he likes to go forward, and so he did.
Go forward,
It leads to a 4-on-2 rush. They get it to Jamie. I don't think it almost looked like it handcuffed him a little bit. But
he put it in his feet.
We're talking about Jamie or Duchene getting to stay when Mikko comes back on the power play, and yet they combined for a pretty nice 6-on-5 goal.
Yeah, and Jamie, it was a good thing that the guy who's ever in front of him didn't step on him, but the puck was in his feet, and so he kind of had to turn his body and immediately spots Duchene at the same time, and Duchene lets it go right away.
And because of that, Ilya Sorokin does not get the shutout, which would have broken the franchise record for most home shutouts in a season. He has 7. That's the team record. At home, he would have had his 8th, but the Stars cracked that armor. Then they call Wyatt had one chance, little backhander at the side of the net. They call their timeout, and then they don't generate another dangerous chance at the end. And honestly, I don't know if Sorokin was giving up 2 goals on the night. Stars end up losing on a really credit goal.
To the way that the 5 Islanders played on that, because they didn't get outside their shape, and all they did is they stayed in shooting lanes. And you saw what Dallas did. They get it out here, they move it down to the half wall, they go down to the goal line. And again, now you start getting within that 10, 15, 20 second, and you're going, we haven't gotten a shot yet. Now you're just trying to get pucks up, and it's not a quality look that you get. But I think you have to, I personally think that when you got a minute left, you got to start getting pucks up to the net, and people got to gravitate, and it's got to be an ugly one. You're looking for that pretty power play.
A little bit more urgency, and I guess that's the other thing. Sam said this. You said, oh, yeah, now they do it. You wanted to see that urgency earlier in the game.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not saying that I'm never going to see a believer in they're not trying or anything like that. I don't believe any of that, but it can be frustrating. I know it's frustrating for fans because they share it with me all over the place that this team can just explode out of nowhere. The New Jersey game is a great example of that too, right? They look like they can't do anything. They're sloppy. They turn the puck over, and then all of a sudden, wow, maybe they're going to find a way to come back from 4-1. Same thing tonight is like, where was this team that was creating and taking risks? And I feel like sometimes they just need to get a little kick in the butt to get offensively creative. And sometimes you just wish they were able to find it earlier. But give credit, Blood said it, give credit to the Islanders for playing a pretty well-established, good defensive structural game to not allow Dallas to get creative and get confident.
So,
Luds, real quick, on the Islanders, Luds, when you look at what Schaefer does and it comes to, obviously we know the way they play and how structured they are you surprised? Not now, obviously it's been 60 games of it, but if I had told you before the season they were going to let Schaefer be Schaefer this way, would you have been surprised with kind of the way Patrick's let him play, be allowed to freelance when he has been able to?
I think, Sean, the reason that Patrick is allowing him to freelance is because they don't have anybody else that can. And I think that with their structure, it allows him to kind of do that. And the other thing with him is you watch him when he gets across the offensive blue line and he can get to tops of the circle. Sometimes, obviously, he gets below it. But he is back in position even before the opponent can get the puck outside their zone. So he very rarely do you ever see him go into the offensive zone and get tangled up with somebody. He's always on the move, and so he can recover. I mean, he's playing 30-plus minutes a night, not because – I mean, yes, he's not the best. He's not Paul Coffey, right, yet. He probably will be at some point. He's not Quinn Hughes yet, but he just is so cerebral. He's so smart with not getting into areas where he can't get out of. He can recover, and I believe that's why Patrick allows him to play that way. Plus, they don't have anybody else. We talked about D'Angelo not being in the lineup. So he's their guy that can transport the puck, and I think he's just so intelligent about not going down behind the net. Don't get tied up in front of the net, so that would really leave a forward possibly back playing D with another defenseman.
Well, tell everybody, explain your statement earlier where you said he never stops moving his feet.
Well, he does.
That's important.
Like he keeps skating. I mean, that's what allows him to do what he does, is because his skating ability is incredible. I mean, is it Cale Makar like? I don't think he can't go like. Makar seems to stop on a dime and he can go east-west so quick. He just kind of swoops everywhere. Yeah. He swoops around, and then you watch, and then he recognizes the angle. Sometimes, let's say he comes down the left side of the ice, and he swoops across the offensive blue line, and then he starts coming up basically the opposite side of the ice. But he'll recognize if the play starts to go back quicker, now he doesn't stay on that side of the ice. He cuts right to the middle of the ice. For a defenseman, you start your game for the middle of the ice. And again, for a guy that played – what is it, Sean? 17 games last year in junior, and he was injured and stuff like that. And to step into the league now, and you're playing 30-plus minutes a night. Teenager. I mean, he's got. We talked about it on the pregame show. He's got that rookie thing. I mean, that's it. Yeah, the Calder is his. I mean, is he a candidate for the Norris? I don't know. Is he going to be in the top 3? How about the best player to your team, the MVP, whatever argument, would they be in a position just like Celebrini?
Boy, that's a great.
We talk about Celebrini. If the Sharks get into the playoffs, that would be your guy. Yep. Well, if the Sharks don't, and the Islanders do, is there any difference in that?
Boy, there's your short. There's your VOD.
Can he get over
all
Kucherov?
that stuff of thinking about that? But let's talk more about it, because I want to ask you a Lane Hudson, Matthew Schaefer comparison.
There you go. Yep.
Next here on the DLS Stars postgame show.
If you love the NFL Draft, then this is your edge. The Die Hard NFL Draft Guide is built and based off of thousands of hours of film study, being boots on the ground, Shrine Bowl, Senior Bowl, Combine, talking to scouts, talking to coaches, really getting a feel for where these players are best going to fit and project in the NFL. And we're talking hundreds of players in this class.
Cowboy fans, you got to have access to Fran Duffy's Die Hard Draft Guide, because he knows exactly what the Cowboys are looking for and has in-depth scouting reports on everybody that can help this team. So help yourself and be informed about the NFL Draft. Make sure you got Fran's Draft Guide.
All right, so what are you going to find in the guide? Well, you're going to find player comps. You're going to find strengths, weaknesses, physical tools, analytics, highlights, analysis from all across the space, everything you need to try and determine who are the best players for your team. You get access to the guide if you're a diehard, and you'll also get access to a couple of individual breakdowns I'm doing specifically for your team. All right, look, if you want surface level breakdowns, you can get them anywhere. But if you want independent thought, if you want thorough breakdowns on all of these prospects, become a diehard, get the guide. Or you can get access to the 2026 guide for just $26. Let's win draft season.
And don't forget, you can be a DLS diehard by scanning the QR code underneath Sean there. And if you do that, you have access to Fran Duffy's NFL Draft Guide, which is coming up here rather soon. The NFL Draft, that is. And all the things that come with being a diehard, including all of access to all our coverage, all the website stuff, ad-free if you're reading the articles, a free DLS shirt of your choice. Sam is wearing a Miami Hurricane shirt under that sweatshirt, which he was wearing in the pregame show. So we are certainly not going to advertise that shirt, but all the things that you can get, the community base, the diehard Discord only lounge, which can be really, really fun. And I kid you not, people have connected on a very personal friendship level by being diehards. In fact, that they now have community, they support each other, they meet up at games, and people in different countries have become closer because they are supporters of DLS, especially the Star Show.
I just met up with like 12 of them at the game the other night.
Who's
we got some friendship bracelets.
Yeah, I got one.
Yep,
I was wearing it
the
other night.
you as well.
Thank you very much for that. I wore it for the.
I got
Pride
a
game the other
Ritzy
night.
button. I got a bracelet to give to Ritzkovian.
You got a
Not sure.
Ritzkovian button.
I'm not sure.
Why
Yeah.
are you not wearing that on every show?
I wore it on multiple shows. It's a Ritz cracker.
But I haven't seen it.
Oh, I've worn it on shows.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess.
Hey, is anybody keeping track? Meaning you, Sean, to the North Dakota score?
It's 1-0.
Still?
Third
I
period.
believe
Yeah.
it's still 1-0 for Merrimack
Yeah,
right now.
third period.
All right.
Okay, quick question, and then I have a couple things. We have some super chats. I have a Sorokin question for Sean, and I also have some Glen Gulutzan audio from Mike Heika that we can play real quick. But Luds, obviously Lane Hudson in Montreal, Matthew Schaefer, they're not the same profile. Hudson is a lot shorter.
Yeah.
Schaefer's a pretty big kid. One's American, one's Canadian. As you were talking about how the way Schaefer skates, especially comparing him to a guy like Makar, does Hudson and Schaefer, do they have any similarities?
Hudson, to me, moves quicker in straight lines. Schaefer kind of snakes his way up the ice. He swoops all over the place and he loses people. And then the other thing is Schaefer will compete in front of his net because of his size. Like, again, I'm not saying he's Shea Weber or anybody like that,
Right.
but he actually gets back and compete. Where Hudson knows he's not going to get in there and win a lot of those battles. Yeah. He'll front, like Sean said earlier, he'll front a shot more often than he will try to get in there against somebody that's 220 pounds and just get pushed out of there. So I think they're different players that way, but there's no question that, Hudson's probably closer to the Hughes kind of guy, the way that he plays versus the way that's why I kind of for some reason I'm seeing Makar and Schaefer and then Hudson and Quinn because they're just quicker zipping around. The other two can kind of swoop up and back.
To Lud's point, one of the things that we struggled with last year for the draft guide with Over at Elite Prospects was figuring out not comp, because I didn't do pure comps, but it was more of we called it the shades of for players. And for Schaefer in the draft guide, and I just went back and looked, and we actually had him listed as shades of Miro. That's something that we had going into the draft last year because we were kind of in that element of figuring out clearly franchise-altering number one defenseman. Only played 19 games between, I think it was actually 26 games if you include some of the friendlies for World Junior as well. So, but he's one of the where we kind of look back at that season. We've done the review of it, and you look at it, and we were a little bit more conservative in our progression of his offensive game, and that's probably actually why we compared him to Miro. And realistically, you look back at it, and I know we've had that internal conversation of maybe we need to be a little bit more, not with everyone, obviously, but a little bit more bullish when a defenseman is doing what Schaefer was doing last year when it comes to the way they're moving is he can and should be in that Makar conversation. And I think that's one of the wild things about this kid is, and Luds, I'm sure it's fun for you to watch as someone who played with some great defensemen. I think the really cool thing about Schaefer and the reason that he is so exciting to watch and what he's doing right now is I think there's some elements to him that take some of the best part of Miro's game and some of the best parts of Makar's games. There's obviously still some refinement to come along the way, but if you're looking at this kid and you're telling me that he's not the best defenseman in the NHL by the time he's 20 years old, I might like this. We're talking word generational gets thrown around way too often. I want to be clear on that, right? The word generational, but to do what he's doing as an 18-year-old defenseman in the NHL and to not just have this foundation and where the elevator's going. I mean, we're talking about someone where a decade from now, he might have won 5 or 6 Norris trophies just 10 years from now. And that's how good this kid is.
And Sean, especially the way that they choose the Norris candidate, the trophy.
Yeah,
because of the
gotta be able to put
offensive
up
slant.
options.
Yeah. And it's funny because I did hear you mention Miro. You guys compared him to Miro a little bit. Is that?
Yeah, we had compared him to Miro. I was just looking at our profile for him. We had looked just kind of the mobility and the skating, and one of our questions was just more so about the offensive side of things. Wasn't whether that he had it or not, but just a lot of times you see kids, players, prospects have that offensive pop against junior goalies, against junior defenders, right? And so there's not the, and so one of our questions about Schaefer was how quickly would that offensive game translate to the 50, 60 points at the NHL? Like, we're like, is he going to be a 50, 60 point guy at the NHL level, or is he going to be a 30, 40 point guy at the NHL level? And that's why we were a little bit more conservative in comparing him to Miro as opposed to bringing Makar into the play, because obviously people look at the point totals that way. So, but he's got 52 points now in 60 games or something like that, 22 goals. Like, it's really impressive to watch. And
he's up to 54 points after 2 assists tonight.
54 after night. Yeah. 54 after night. Yep. So it's like, it's funny. Like, I don't want to like rip on Miro, because people always think when we make comparisons, we're ripping on guys, but like at the end of the day, we're going to be like, years from now, we'll be comparing Miro to all he had elements of Matthew Schaefer's game. Like, that's what Schaefer does. Right. So,
well, the reason I asked you, because I wasn't sure if you said Miro, when I stopped talking and you started, I was thinking about Miro in my head, because I'm thinking, I wish Miro would do more, Miro seems to me, when he comes across the offensive blue line, a lot of times he kind of goes behind the net more. Yeah. This kid snakes his way and finds his way to the front of the net or in those neighborhoods. I wish Miro would do more of that, like where he's more thinking more of scoring. Or getting a quality scoring chance. Miro is a pass first kind of guy.
He
right?
looks like he's trying to prolong the possession to then find an open player.
When you'll see him come around the back of the net, and players that play against him now, they really are going, I'm not going to continue to chase him in here, and I'm going to go over here and meet him because we're not going to catch him. But that's the times I'm thinking, start driving to the net once in a while. Maybe that's not in his suitcase. I don't know.
Is it as effortless for him to skate as it is for Miro?
Oh, man. You know what? I feel that Miro skates more effortlessly than Schaefer does.
Okay.
For whatever reason. It just seems like he glides through the ice, and it looks like it's almost like in a completely different way. It's like Zubov. When Zuby would skate through the neutral zone, he wasn't skating. He was not skating. He was shuffling his feet, but he kept moving faster than when he was skating. And Zuby was an east-west guy. And when you're playing for Ken Hitchcock, that's generally a no-no. and when he would start to, get on Zub, like get north, I'm like, Hitch, get lost, because he just sets all the best players up on,
All right, speaking of coaching.
On the Miro, what? Oh, are we going?
Yeah, I want to hear from Glen Gulutzan here. This is audio courtesy of Mike Heika.
Yeah. Real quick, let me just add to Ludz's point. Oh, we're going? Just go. It's fine.
Go ahead,
Sean. Keep going. Go ahead.
I was going to say, just the Schaefer-Miro thing, I think there's a mentality thing too, where, and I've written about this before, where there's guys who want to control chaos and there's guys who want to create chaos within the game. And I think Miro has a big part of that mentality of it's more of a control and limit opportunity for the opponent is kind of Miro's mind first, where Schaefer's mentality is a little bit more of the creation of chaos all over the ice, which I love. And I'd love to see Miro want to create a little more chaos. So
Sean, what you're saying about creating chaos, especially when he gets into the neutral zone and then he gets in and starts cutting across the ice, going from one side of the rink to the other, he draws more than one person to him. Now all of a sudden there's two guys and that's where the chaos comes from, because he breaks down your coverage in the zone.
All right, Ryan, let's hear some audio from Glen Gulutzan. His comments right after the game.
Let me just add to this. Just kidding. Go ahead.
You're making cough on you.
Right? Was that a step in the right direction?
Yes and no. I still think we can, we're far away from the game we were playing, 8 or 9 games ago, but moving in the right direction. I thought there was a good goalie performance by both goalies. I thought their goalie was, Sorokin was really, really good. So you get that, and you got team fighting for their lives. And, I thought we battled and competed. It was very even, and we just couldn't get a second one by them.
What about the neutral zone and your defensive zone? It seems like those were improved.
Yeah, there's a little blurb there in the second period where we coughed up, I think, 3 in a row there, and it kind of gave them some life. Otherwise, we had a good second period going. And, the goal in the third, it deflects twice, off a skate, off a pad, off a skate again. They go in, they don't go in. So I liked we stayed with it, but we've got another level, and we need to find it.
What's the process like of trying to, you can't fake urgency, right? Like, this is a team fighting for their lives. You guys are in a playoff spot. But what's the process of trying to build your game correctly, fix those sort of issues in your game down the stretch? Yeah, because there's no light switch. It's always the process. There's a natural little dip sometimes when you see that X beside your name, and then you're coming in to play teams like this, like you mentioned. So it's where you grow, though, when you can rise up and still beat these teams. And we're not there yet. We got to get out of our lull a little bit, because you never know light switch when you go into the playoffs that you can just turn it on and start playing good. So you want to make sure you're ironing out all the kinks now, and we ironed out a few tonight, but not enough.
Thank you.
All right, there's the post-game audio from Glen Gulutzan. A little confusing, Luds, when he said yes and no. Or is it the step in the right direction? And he gave both answers. And then he followed it up with, but it's a step in the right direction. And he go, well, wait a minute, is it or not?
Kind of like he's going to play the last game of the trip, or maybe not.
Yeah.
But is it a step in the right direction tonight?
Is it what?
Is this game a step in the right direction?
You got a psycho look.
Well, because I disagree.
Well, you also went up a couple octaves, too.
I was trying to say this to Luds, and then you yelled at me, but he wasn't listening.
You know why
anyway.
I yelled? I yelled because as soon as we started the audio, Sam leaned over to say something to Luds, and I'm like, if you talk to him, he won't hear the audio, and then we can't ask him any questions.
Well, I was actually watching a replay of McKinnon's goal.
Of course he was. He wasn't listening anyway.
No, I just think it. I mean, Gulutzan kind of didn't really buy into that, but I'm surprised that Mike asked that, because I didn't think this game was a step in any direction, to be honest. I thought it was more of what we've seen from this team.
Yeah, I don't know. He's saying it kind of was a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Kind of yes, but kind of no.
Are we just trying this space where we're trying to still
basically
build a little bit?
Coach speak.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I mean, it's they let up 4 less goals than the last game. I guess that's a step in the right direction.
I like that.
They scored 3 fewer though.
Once again, Sean, always Mr. Positivity, right?
Yes.
Nothing but sunshine and rainbows with Sean. We love it. Okay, quick question on Sorokin, then we'll get to our super chats. How good was Sorokin? And one of our viewers tonight in the chat said, if we're talking about Schaefer for a potential Hart Trophy, could we not be talking about Sorokin for the Islanders and how important he is to that team?
He's so good.
Sean?
Yeah. I mean, he was really good tonight. And I think you said earlier in the show, and I don't know if they were scoring a second goal for him. I mean, scoring a second goal on him tonight. And it's kind of it's interesting seeing how that kind of goaltending evolution has played out there, because there was some ups and downs and everything. And now that he's found his game again, after some of those struggles of past seasons, I don't know if there's many guys you'd pick against him if you were going to pick one goalie for a game and everything like that. And so someone's brought up the Hart MVP thing. That's a whole nother debate on the goaltending thing, because I'm the person who would say that's probably a valuable position for most teams. But Luds can talk to this better than I. There's something about when you have a guy back there. I don't know, and you look at how things connect, right? Like we were talking about Schaefer and having an 18-year-old kid who literally didn't turn 18 till September has the freedom to go wheel and deal and do this and everything. I think from the coaching perspective, Luds, there's probably a little bit of more confidence in letting the kid do that from the beginning. Now he's since earned it, but just back in October and November he's trusting the guy behind him to let him do a little bit more of that. I mean, Schaefer has since earned it himself, but I think there's parts of Sorokin's game and what he's does that has allowed Schaefer to kind of earn some of that trust that maybe with some other goaltending situations in the league, he probably doesn't get that opportunity.
Well, and I would think that he probably gives his guys a green light, because Patrick was that guy himself. You know, he go, yeah. I'll make the saves. And so he's probably talking to a few more players, and he's not, I mean, he's talking to the right players that can do it. and just saying, listen, we've got to find a way to score some more goals. I mean, that's the bottom line. And we've got a guy right now that is making saves and sometimes making saves that he shouldn't, but he is making them right now. So we can be a little bit more creative, and we can push up with the fourth guy. And if we get a 2-on-1, as long as my defensemen play it the right way, I trust that he's going to make the save.
All right. Let's go to the super chats that we have before we wrap this one up tonight. Stars lose to the Islanders. We'll start with Blue Titan 10 with a DeSmith and 99 Cup here. Why can't we finally see Harley on power play 1? Shake it up.
I don't think the power play is the problem.
Well, I think the power play has been fantastic this year. And even with the absence of Rantanen and Hintz due to injury, they've been continuing to score. They didn't do it tonight. But they had some chance. I don't think that's the issue.
No.
Do you?
I don't think so. We can point at they didn't score on the 2 double minors when they really had a chance, but that's few and far between that is the issue. You know me, I love Harley on a power play 1, so I'm not arguing, but I don't think that's the problem.
And I think, well, my complaint all the time was Miro. It was only because he defers too much. And it gets to be predictable from a penalty killing standpoint. And I think this year he started to direct more pucks at the net. So, again, but I do agree. I mean, Thomas Harley can find seams.
Yeah.
He's really good at finding seams that get pucks on the net.
Was nice watching Miro just walk in and hammer that one. I wanted him to wire that one. Good save from Sorokin, though.
All right, let's go to Ardell with a Lundqvist and a Bastian. I blame it's a good time for the Stars to lose 3 of 5 games, Sam Nessler. Well, they've lost 5 of 6 now, Sam. Thank you, Ardell. That is a high-level super chat.
Yep, you're welcome. I stand by it.
All right, Marshall second with a Heiskanen 99 Cup here. The sky isn't falling.
The sky is falling.
The rain, does that come with the drop now, too?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
but I am curious why it feels like the team has been so streaky this season. Am I crazy or not, Sean? Sean's also doing the rain.
I wanted to be in the rain as well.
Yeah, smart.
I was feeling left out. I think
Windy
the
over
Stars, Stars streakiness is. I actually think it's a positive because right now in the league, there's a lot of teams that have just only done the opposite, where they've only strung together some of those negative streaks. Look at the entire Pacific Division right now. So I think it's for me, the Stars' problems go back to the nature of this playoff format, where everything we talk about with the Stars comes down to we have to compare to what Colorado and Minnesota are doing. And it's just unfortunate that that's who those teams will have to play in the first round, right? Like I think in a world where they're getting, where the Stars are playing, and they're probably, because in an old format where they'd be getting the 3rd seed and they'd be playing the 6th seed, and it's getting Minnesota or Colorado it wouldn't be round 1. I think we're not as worried about the streakiness. I think it's one of those hilarious things that keeps coming up, because obviously Gary Bettman keeps saying it's a great setup and everything, but this playoff format is why we're so concerned.
You bring up an interesting point, Sean. I want to ask you first, but then the rest of the panel. So if it was a 1 through 8 where the division winners got 1 and 2, and then the next highest, like the Stars are 2 in the conference, they'd be the 3. If that started today, they would be the higher seed hosting the Edmonton Oilers in the first round. Would you rather face the Minnesota Wild right now in the playoffs as Dallas is the higher seed, or Edmonton in the first round, Sean?
Have you looked at Edmonton's goaltending?
Exactly.
I believe I asked the questions here.
Yes. Yes. So obviously Edmonton.
No brainer. Edmonton.
Yeah, Edmonton.
Minnesota.
Okay. Now, argue with these two. Why?
I have zero faith that this team can beat Edmonton in the playoffs right now.
So,
really,
I would like to agree with Sean and Luds, because Gustafsson by himself is better.
Minnesota's a better team.
Let alone Volstead, except Stuart Skinner found a way to outplay the Stars in the last 2 Western Conference Finals. I still think Edmonton is not as dangerous, but they have 2 players, assuming Draisaitl's back for the start of the playoffs, which they say he will be, that are insanely lethal.
And I truly believe in the were in your head aspect of.
And I think the
hockey.
Stars are in the wild
Stars
head,
have been
except
in
they
the
do have
Avs
Quinn
and the
Hughes
wild
out.
head. Edmonton is in the heads of the Dallas Stars. So I think
Let me-
Minnesota's a better
let me-
team, but I'd be more scared of Edmonton, to be honest. I think Dallas.
Allow me to counter one part on this, Sam. Why did the Stars hire Glen Gulutzan if not to get into the heads of the Edmonton
That's a
Oilers?
great point.
For sure.
I love it.
And I hope it works.
So
Yes,
just for fun, guys,
yeah.
if we did do the 1 through 8 with division winners in the first two, it would be right today, Colorado against Nashville in the first game.
Oof.
It would be Anaheim as the Pacific Division winner playing the Vegas Golden Knights as the 7th seed. Then it would be Dallas at Edmonton, and it would be Minnesota hosting Utah in the first round. Would you guys
I like that
think that's
series.
a better 8 than the way it lines up right now? Again, it can change, but as it currently stands, it would be Colorado against Nashville with the same. Then it's going to be Anaheim, Utah, Dallas, Minnesota, Edmonton, Vegas.
Playoffs.
I don't know if it makes a
Yeah,
discernible
it's not a huge
difference.
difference,
Do you
right?
guys think? I mean, I'm a
It's-
huge advocate of 1 versus 8.
It's not, for me, it makes a big difference where you should not be in a setup where the second and third best teams in the conference have to play in round 1. I don't care as much, like you say, it doesn't make a big difference, and I get that it doesn't make a big difference later, but if you're not going to have any reward on the regular season, then what's the point of the regular season like that's
Totally.
my whole thing. Like so if you're not going, if it's going to be, if it's only based off, so yes, I don't, if you finish fourth, if you finish third, or if you finish fourth or fifth in your conference and you're worrying about who you're playing, finish higher in the conference. But if you are the top, if you are the second and third best teams in your conference and the second and third best teams in the league, it looks like, you should not be having to play in the first round. That's just, that's.
And I feel like that shift
Agreed.
has happened mentally. What teams are just saying, like Florida is a perfect example. Florida just now says, let's just get in. And teams, I'm starting to feel that sense from players more and more that, they're not just coming out and saying it, but they don't care about coming in first anymore because they're just going to get matched up with another first
except
contender.
if you end up in that mushy middle and you risk missing.
Yes, missing completely.
And that's-
Get yourself in a
that's not a
second,
place to live.
third, or somewhere like that, and then just get yourself in and
Yes,
play
I think
the right
the
way.
argument is that while winning a division or winning the conference, the league, to have the home ice is nice, it's not the end all existence,
Yeah.
which we've talked about a lot.
Yeah.
It's still better than not, but no, you got to go out and deal with it. The funny thing is, for all the fans that are upset, 4-game losing streak, Dallas is still one of only 2 teams in the league that has clinched a playoff spot at this point.
Playoffs.
That's a great drop. I love it. All right. Any final thoughts before we wrap this one up?
Let's just get to the playoffs.
Yep.
That's it for me. I mean, we're 9 points behind Colorado now.
Yes.
I believe that's what it is.
And the Avs have a game in hand.
Yeah, and what is it? 3 ahead of Mini?
3 ahead of Mini.
Yeah. So
And I believe the Wild have played one more game than
you
Dallas.
still have to be concerned with losing that home ice advantage. So I just want to get. I don't know. They do too. They do. Let's go. We're probably not going to catch Colorado. I think now tonight you're probably, as a player too, and you never want to say never, but you're going to look at it and go, okay, that's a lot of ground to make up. So let's get this over with. Let's get our game back in order.
Yep.
And let's go. Let's go when it matters.
Sam? Good? Sean, any final thoughts?
I will say it's pretty damn cool how much fun we have after a game that they lose 2-1. That's.
I want to see
like,
the mini hockey net again.
That
I
was
want to
fun.
know where you go with that.
We're closing with that, aren't we? Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I think it's pretty damn cool about the amount of people in the chat still going, and the fact that
Sean looks like he's watching a college hockey game.
we
behind the
can have
glass.
this. We can have this conversation. And I actually do have the college hockey game back right over there.
There you go.
The other side of the room. So, but I think it's been pretty cool to see all of that, and the DLS experience is pretty awesome. So I'll leave it with that.
Perfectly said. And I would venture to guess that on a knee hockey net, you guys would struggle to score on goalie Sean Shapiro. Regular net, different story, but he would be very
I
brick
was a
wallish.
goalie in mini.
Not if I used a marble.
Yes, then it would start hurting, and then you'd start to wonder if he wants to stay in front of that.
The only reason
marble.
I
Just
say
like
that,
lacrosse all over again.
my kids were playing mini sticks in a house over in Colleyville here, and I came home one day, And I looked, there was a bullet hole through the picture window that went out to the pool.
Oh, no.
And I asked them what was going on because they use the tape balls all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, were you guys playing the mini stick? Yeah, but we're using that tape ball. Anyway, a couple hours later, I walk out to the pool. There's a marble in the bottom of the pool. And I said, so you were using a tape ball, were you? And then, anyway, and I also found some Budweiser cans in there.
No.
in their
How about
drawer.
that?
That led to the-
Inebriated
that led to the
everyone.
marble.
I think they were 9.
1 and 1 came together there.
Yeah, so clearly the decision-making process was, let's get into Dad's beverages.
Well,
And
no,
then-
apparently they were drinking and then grabbed the marble.
That's
and
what I'm
then
saying.
got it through the
Drinking
mouth.
first,
That
and
led to the
then that
decision.
led to the, hey, I have a great idea. What if we used a marble instead of our tape ball for mini sticks?
Yeah.
I love it. All right, for Sean Shapiro, Craig Ludwig, Sam Nestler, I'm Owen Newkirk, and of course, don't forget our producer, Ryan Vaughters. We will be back on Saturday.
Sam and I will be back.
We'll be back.
Well, I'll be there.
You're not invited.
Sam is doing the pregame show with Luds, just the two of them. I'll be there for the postgame show. I have a soccer coaching conflict for Saturday.
Can't wait.
Be there, Stars and Penguins, on Saturday afternoon. Till then, have a great Friday.
And if
You're
I
on
don't come, I don't
DLLS.
come.
And like and subscribe, darn it.
We were base enough to desire it. It is now too late to retire from the continent. There is no retreat but in submission and slavery. Our chains are forged. Their clanking may be heard on the plains of Boston. The war is inevitable, and let it come. I repeat it, sir. Let it come. It is vain, sir, to extenuate the matter. Gentlemen may cry, peace, peace, but there is no peace. The war has actually begun. The next gale that sweeps from the north will bring to our ears the clash of resounding arms. Our brethren are already in the field. Why stand we here idle? What is that gentleman wish? What would they have? Is life so dear, or peace so sweet, as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death.
We all silly like the mayor.